This is Lou Carlozo, the editor-in-chief of Quoted. With the war continuing to rage in Ukraine, there is the paradox of, on the one hand, terrible atrocities being committed by Russian troops invading parts of the country where no one is spared. And on the other, in Kiev, signs of life returning to some small sense of normal, with coffee shops opening up over the last week or so. Yuriy Matsarsky, a Ukrainian journalist turned soldier, talks about the early days of the conflict when he and other fighters were holed up in a building without heat or electricity, and the progress from then to the present time, where he is actually helping escort foreign journalists from the BBC and other outlets as they try to bring home war coverage that's authoritative and true. Here's Yuriy.
Hello.
Hi, Yuriy. It's Lou Carlozo from Quoted. How are you?
It's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Better when the people in Mariupol or in Kharkiv or in Sumy.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I heard about the bombing of the theater there, and they had the word, was it children was the word that was painted on the ground?
Yeah, there are a lot of children, there are a lot of women, there are a lot of elderly person in this underground. So, the Russians were doing the same they did in Syria. So if they knew exactly that there is a place where injured people are or where the kids are, they're bombing this place. So, near this theater, around this theater, there was signs, huge signs in Russian that there are children inside. Someone took the white paint and painted the huge white letters "kids" close to this theater. So the guy who was throwing the bombs from his plane, he saw for sure, for 150%, he saw that there is a sign "children," and he bombed it. They did it in Syria, and now they do it in Ukraine. They're targeting civilians, so I don't know what to say more about them. It's some kind of brutes where they're behaving just like Nazis, just like maniacs.
It's absolutely true. There's no doubt about it. Now, the last time I talked to you, are you still near Kiev?
I'm in Kiev. Right now, I'm in Kiev. We are still in Kiev with my platoon. We are holding the position inside the Kiev, inside the city. And since the last time, there is no any changes in our position.
That's incredible. You're putting up a brave fight, holding off the Russian troops. Give me a sense of what's going on the ground. I know things have changed even since the last time we talked a week ago.
Yeah, there are a lot of changes. First of all, economic life is returning to Kiev. Even a week ago, there is no any coffee shops or any restaurants in business. There are only few huge supermarkets or drugstores with huge lines near it. Now, as I can see, the business is returning to the city. The footwear shops, the coffee shops, the restaurants, the taxi drivers, even the janitors are returning to their work, and every day more and more people can be seen on the streets. And at the same time, there are still rockets targeting civilian districts in Kiev. There are still artillery barrages targeting civilian objects, civilian districts in Kiev, and there are still a lot of saboteurs trying to do their worst inside Kiev, and there is still a lot of there is no less danger in Kiev since last week or since 2 weeks ago. So it's it's the same level of danger. It's the same level of enemy activity around the Kiev and enemy fire inside Kiev.
Wow. Give us a sense of what your life is like. Are you at home? Are you sleeping in a bunker? Do you get much sleep? What has happened to your routine?
I'm living with my platoon. We took the position on the second day of the war in one of the non-residential building. So it's some kind of evacuated business building. So we took our position where. I can't tell you exactly where it is because it's a secret information. So we are here. We don't have beds inside. We don't have any real place to rest. We don't have chairs inside. We don't have, of course, armchairs. So we have a floor, and on this floor, it's sleeping bags. We are all sleeping in sleeping bags. First 2 or 3 days was really horrible because it's still cold in Kiev, and it's still sometimes snowing in Kiev, and it was so cold in this building. So I was waking up a few times at night because of cold, because my teeth are squeezing because of this cold. But now it's much warmer now because the guy who owns this building, he now somewhere in our place, not in Kiev, but we managed to find him, and he from the distance he turned on the warm in the heating in our place, and also he turned on the electricity. So it's much better, but we are still living on the floor. We are still sleeping on the floor, but it's okay. I remember that only 3 weeks ago it was much worse situation. Which it was really freezing cold. We were sleeping in all the clothes we had in the sleeping bags, but we could not warm ourselves. It was really bad. Because I was a journalist before the war, and my commandment discovered it. I'm also in charge of guiding foreign reporters who are visiting Kiev. So every day I have my territorial defense duties, and also I have my duties as a guide and as a fixer for a foreign journalist. So only hour ago or even less, I was guiding the British journalists through our checkpoints, through our positions. I was telling them about what's going on and managing to arranging interviews with my colleagues, with my comrades from the territorial defense units.
That is absolutely incredible. And was this a BBC journalist, or what outlet were they from?
Yeah, it was BBC journalists, and there are also a few other crews, not only from Great Britain. Since the war began, today is my anniversary. Today I am for 3 weeks in the army.
Wow! And
from the third day or from the fourth day, I'm also in charge of working with foreign journalists. At the time, as soon as our commandment discovered that I was a journalist, from that moment, I'm also in charge of this work. So it's almost 3 weeks I'm working with foreign journalists. It was dozens of foreign journalists from all over the world coming, and I'm really appreciative for it, because we need them to tell the story of us, to tell the truth about what's going on. So I worked with the guys from Greece. I worked with the guys from Portugal. I worked with the guys from Brazil. I worked with the guys from United States, from Great Britain, from Poland, from Czechia, and I really appreciate them for coming and for covering our stories and for trying to do their best to help Ukraine in our fight for freedom and independence.
Absolutely. And to that end, I think the entire world is shocked. There have been stories in the American media about how the Russian military has just failed to advance, that frankly, what they have done so far has been an absolute failure. As someone on the ground and within missiles throw of where the Russian troops are outside of Kyiv, why do you think that the war has absolutely not gone their way so far?
As I know, as I can be almost sure, they don't even prepare for such a war. As I think that Putin and the people around him, they were expected to be greeted with the flowers and with the cries of joy. They were expecting, that the people in Ukraine cities, in Kharkiv and Chernihiv, or even in Kiev, will be glad to see Russian soldiers on the streets of these cities. So they totally misunderstood Ukraine. They totally misunderstood Ukrainian people. They were expecting us to see them as some kind of liberators, as they called themselves. They don't expected us to fight them back. They don't expected us to be ready to kill them or to die by ourselves, but not to surrender. So I think it's one of the greatest miscalculations in the whole human history. And Putin did this miscalculation, and people around him, they allowed him to do this miscalculation.
I have heard, too, that by media accounts here, that captured Russian troops have talked about they had no idea that they were going to attack. A lot of them were young conscripts. They were absolutely horrified. Have you had the chance to either talk to or hear about stories from Russian soldiers that have been captured? If so, what are they saying? It's
complete bullshit, because Ukrainian intelligence service have intercepted a few hours of telephone conversation by these people with their relatives or their friends in Russia. So while they're raiding Ukrainian cities, while they're raping Ukrainian women, while they're stealing goods from Ukrainian houses and flats, and they're calling their friends in Russia, where they're presenting themselves just like heroes. Or we are just raiding flats of these goddamn Ukrainians. We are here to kill them all and to take all their possessions. But after they get into hands of the Ukrainian militaries, they just saying all of them telling all the same. Oh, we don't know what we are doing here. We were told that we are going to some kind of drill. No, guys, you know what are you doing here. You just called your mothers or just called your brides and telling them how brave you are, raping Ukrainian women and stealing Ukrainian goods and killing Ukrainian soldiers. So please stop this bullshit. You are lying. You are lying all the time. So please don't trust them. They're invaders. They're occupiers. They are murderers and they are rapists. You don't need to hear them. You don't need to listen to their lies. This is I think it's the baddest people, the worst people you can imagine. Of course, they're trying to lie to save their skins. Of course, they be lying every time they asked about what are you doing in Ukraine. So it's bullshit. For 100%, it's bullshit.
Yeah, it sounds like from your experience covering wars all over the world that this is, by the Russian troops, some of the worst, most evil war behavior with with Ukrainian women, with property. And you know this because you've intercepted communications. And yet when they are captured, they become very cowardly. That's what I hear you say.
You see, for a few days ago, I told to one of the colleagues, one of the foreign journalists, that I was in Mosul in Iraq, during anti-ISIS offensive on Mosul. It was, it was a huge military operation with thousands of people involved in it. People from all over the world were trying to, and were making offensive on Mosul. It was, local people, Iraqi people, Arabic people, Kurdish people. There were a lot of people from the United States, from Canada, from European countries, and even ISIS, even these bloody terrorists, they let people from Mosul and from suburbs of Mosul, civilian people, to live. They don't use these people, as a shield. They don't try to hide under the backs, behind the backs of this civilian people, of this ordinary people. But Russia is doing worse when they're just hiding behind the backs. They're shelling the people. They're sieging the civilian districts, making these people die of hunger and of thirst and of lack of medicines. So first of all, this war of Russia is waging against civilian population. That's why we can and we should call it genocide. It's not just a war between one military power and other military power. No, they don't want to defeat Ukrainian military only. They don't want us to exist at all. That's why we are shelling civilian districts. That's why we are shelling maternity hospital, knowing for sure that there are pregnant women inside, that there are newborn babies inside, because they want us not to exist,
Yes. And that's just a terrible, terrible situation to be in. It's evil that kind of behavior is being shown by the Russian military. In terms of your own fight to survive, we talked about what it's like to live day to day and how you've been making do in a warehouse with your fellow soldiers. How about food? I mean, how hard is it just to get basic food and water and things of that nature to survive on a day-to-day basis for you?
Oh, we have everything we need. We have everything we need because lucky for us, Kyiv is not under siege. So we have connection with other parts of Ukraine. We have connections, of course, not by air, but by land with foreign countries, with our friends on the west. First of all, with Poland, with Slovakia, with Czech Republic, and other NATO and European countries. Thanks to them, we have anything we need. In our platoon, we have all the food we need. We have electricity. Our internet and mobile connection is still work great. It's a really big surprise. But we have in Ukraine one of the fastest and one of the cheapest connection, mobile connection and internet connection in the world. It's still the best and it's still one of the cheapest. So we don't have in Kyiv. We don't have problems we don't have any troubles with food, with water, with electricity. But in the other parts of Ukraine, first of all in Mariupol and in the places like Sumy, there is a huge problems. There is a huge lack of medicines, of water, of clear water. As I know, people in Mariupol, they are starting drinking the muddy water right on the streets. Right on the streets, it's just the snow which stands under the sun, or just that's just some kind of rainwater on the streets, just from the ground, because they don't have any source of water. They don't have any bottled water. We don't have any waters in their kitchens or in their bathrooms. It's all destroyed by Russian fire, by Russian bombs and Russian rockets. So here in Kyiv, our case, it's much better than cases of people from Sumy, from Chernihiv, from Mariupol, first of all, from Kharkiv and from other places.
It's really brave and incredible that they are fighting to survive, that your nation is fighting to keep its liberty and its freedom. Someone who I'm sure must be a hero to Ukrainians, and he is a hero here, is President Zelensky. He got a chance to address the U.S. Congress, and the reaction was absolutely incredible. I'm wondering if you've heard anything about this address during the battle and what your reaction might be to it, if so.
I'm so sorry. I was on a positions and I was working with my foreign colleagues, and I don't have time to read in details or to hear his messages to the United States Congress. But for sure, I know anything he can talk. I know what he's trying to do his best, and he's doing his best to protect our country and to defeat the enemies of ours. I know that the United States is giving us a lot of military aid, and I really appreciate for Ukraine, United States people and United States government. Thank you so much, guys. It's really important for us. It's this is not just some kind of aid. This is not just some kind of of helping hand. No, this aid is literally saving lives, and every cent or every dollar is saving lives of Ukrainians. And you can do it, and I'm really like to thank you. I really want to say I'm thanking you. I'm thanking you on my staying on my knees for what you have done and what will you and for things that you will do in the future to save the lives of Ukrainian civilians. First of all, to save the lives of Ukrainian women and Ukrainian children, because we don't have by ourselves enough systems, enough weapons to protect our civilian districts from the rockets and from the bombs. So our almost only hope is Western help. Our almost only help is aid from the Western countries, from United States and from Europe. So please don't stop sending us this help. Please don't stop saving the lives of Ukrainian civilians. It's so big deal. It's so you just making one of the hugest and one of the largest step in the human history. You are making history. You are making some kind of incredible miracle for us. You are saving every day and every night and every hour. You are saving innocent lives of people, of the pregnant women, of the elderly persons, of our children, of our kids, of our future. Please don't stop doing it. Please send us more anti-rocket systems. Please give us for our pilots, for our brave pilots, for our heroes, give us more planes to protect civilians. We will not in any case use it against Russian civilians. We will not use these systems or use these weapons to destroy Russian towns or Russian cities. No, it will be used only for protecting our local civilians, Ukrainian people, Ukrainian women and Ukrainian kids.
It's certainly more than can be said for the Russian military itself. Now, you've gone through this incredible list of things that can be done. Wrapping up, I would want to ask you if there's anything the journalism community can do here that Quoted, which is my outlet, could do, what I could do personally for you that would make a difference.
You see, yes, Ukraine is now in really bad times, and we need not only weapons, we need not only medicines. Our economic life is also at least partly in ruins. So if you want to help us, if you want to do something for us, please share the links on the funds, on foundations who are helping people in Ukraine. Please share the links for people who are, or foundations who are helping refugees. There are few millions refugees right now who left Ukraine. My family became refugees. My daughter is a refugee now. My parents is also the refugees, and they're in different countries. My daughter is in one country. My parents is in another country. So we have a lot of refugees, and we need to help them. We need to do something for them. Even I started, a GoFundMe page because I don't have. I lost a few of my jobs, which was my source of income before the war. So and I don't have money to help my daughter, or to help my parents who are in completely foreign lands for them. So the only way for me to help them, I started a podcast in English, and with this podcast, I also started, when you GoFundMe page, you can find it googling on the I'm so sorry. Fighting for Ukraine. Yuriy Matsarsky, fighting for Ukraine. I'm not, asking you to help only me, or help. If you can, please help any foundation. Please, any person who is in need. There are millions of people in Ukraine or in foreign countries with Ukrainian passports who really need help because of the war, because of the deaths, because of the destruction which were caused by Russian invasion.
Absolutely. And when you mentioned your family, I was really moved looking at your Facebook page. Your daughter just turned 17.
Yeah, a few days ago. She turned 17 a few days ago, on 15th of March.
Yeah, I can only imagine what it must be like being separated from her. My daughter is 17 years old as well. She lights up my life, and I wish from the bottom of my heart that you, her, and your family are all reunited. And when Ukraine is victorious, even if I have to fly to Ukraine to do it, I'm going to come over there, I'm going to buy you a beer, and I'm going to bring you some blues records.
Okay, I'm waiting for you.
Very good. Okay, Yuri, take care.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you so much for your help. Thank you so much for your interest in our affairs. Thank you.
Okay, definitely. We will stay in touch. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.